It started with a quiet conversation, a soft-spoken interview that no one expected to turn into an emotional storm. Sam Heughan's mother, the gentle and talented artist Chrissy Heughan, sat down for what was meant to be a discussion about her art, her life in Scotland, and her proudest achievement, raising two sons on her own. But somewhere between the stories of clay, color, and creativity, she paused, and the tone shifted. Her voice softened as she said, "There are things about our past that Sam himself had to face later in life. Things we never spoke about for a long time." Those words changed everything. Within hours, blogs and entertainment sites began buzzing. Sam Heughan's mother reveals shocking truth. A hidden chapter in Sam Heughan's family story finally comes to light. Fans around the world, who had always admired Sam's strength and humility, were suddenly desperate to know, what had his mother finally revealed? For years, the Outlander star had been open about certain parts of his childhood, growing up in the rural countryside of Dumfries and Galloway, Scotland, being raised by a single mother after his father left, struggling through poverty before achieving fame. But there were always missing pieces, fragments of a story that Sam avoided discussing in detail. Now, for the first time, it seemed those missing pieces were being filled in. Chrissy described her life as a young mother, alone in the 1980s, trying to raise Sam and his older brother Serdan. "We didn't have much," she recalled. "No heating, no hot water, just a lot of love and imagination." She smiled as she talked about the boys helping her in her art studio, shaping clay with their small hands, dreaming of big worlds far beyond their tiny Scottish home. But then came the moment that broke the room's calm. She spoke about Sam's father, a man who had disappeared from their lives when Sam was still a toddler. "He was lost," she said quietly. "He went away searching for something. A sense of belonging, maybe. But he left behind more than he realized." Reporters listening leaned forward, realizing they were hearing something deeply personal. For decades, the Heughans had never spoken publicly about Sam's father. Some fans didn't even know if he was alive. Others assumed he had simply vanished. But what Chrissy revealed next painted a more complicated, and painful, picture. According to her, Sam's father had joined a spiritual commune in Canada during the late 1970s, a group that later became known for its extreme beliefs. "He thought he'd found peace," she said softly. "But he had to leave us to do it. And that was a pain I carried for years." Her voice trembled as she admitted how hard it had been to raise her sons with so little support. "There were nights when I didn't know how I'd feed them. But I never wanted them to hate their father. I just wanted them to understand that sometimes adults get lost too." For fans, the revelation felt like peeling back the curtain on a part of Sam's life that had always been wrapped in mystery. The Outlander actor, known for his charm and confidence, suddenly seemed even more human, shaped not only by success, but by struggle, absence, and forgiveness. One journalist wrote afterward, "You could see in Chrissy's eyes that this wasn't gossip. It was healing." She went on to share how Sam eventually learned the truth as a teenager. "He was angry at first," she admitted. "But then he surprised me. He said, maybe he left so I could learn to stay. That's when I knew Sam had grown into someone stronger than the pain that made him." Those words spread across social media like wildfire. Fans were moved not by scandal, but by the raw honesty of a mother who had carried decades of silence. Many began sharing their own stories of broken families, single parents, and forgiveness. Throughout it all, Chrissy made one thing clear. This was not a story about blame, but about survival. "I didn't expose a secret to hurt anyone," she said. "I just think the truth, no matter how dark, can still bring light." By the time the interview ended, everyone in the room was silent, not out of shock, but out of respect. The woman who had raised one of the most beloved actors in the world had finally shared the truth behind his strength. And as her final words echoed through the studio, they revealed the heart of it all. People see Sam as a hero on screen, but they don't know the battles he's already fought, and won, off-screen. That was the moment fans realized. The dark family secret wasn't about shame or scandal. It was about resilience, forgiveness, and a boy who turned pain into power. The days after the interview aired felt emotional for fans everywhere. They weren't talking about a scandal anymore. They were talking about a story of pain, reconciliation, and quiet strength. For the first time, the world saw the man behind the fame, not Jamie Fraser, the brave Highland warrior, but Sam Heughan, the son who grew up learning what love and loss truly meant. As the story spread, old interviews resurfaced, moments when Sam had hinted at a complicated past without ever saying too much. In one 2020 conversation, when asked about his childhood, he had paused and said softly, "My mother was the strongest person I've ever known. Everything I am, I owe to her." At the time, fans thought it was simply a son's affection. Now, it carried an entirely new weight. For years, Sam had carefully avoided questions about his father. When he did speak of him, it was brief, distant, polite. He wasn't really in the picture, he'd say. Few people realized how deep that absence had shaped him, until now. Sources close to Sam revealed that he learned the full truth about his father much later in life. He was already an adult, just beginning to find fame, when he received a letter from relatives in Canada. It was from his father, who was gravely ill and wanted to see him one last time. According to people who know the family, Sam didn't hesitate. He boarded a flight to Canada and met the man he hadn't seen since he was a toddler. The reunion, those close to him said, was both heartbreaking and healing. His father, frail but lucid, told him about the years he had spent in isolation, chasing spiritual fulfillment but finding only regret. They talked for hours, one family friend later shared. Sam didn't go there for answers. He went to say goodbye, but also to forgive. That meeting changed him. In later interviews, Sam would speak about compassion, about choosing kindness even when it's hardest. Now fans finally understood where that philosophy came from. His mother, Chrissy, later revealed that when Sam returned home, he was quieter than usual. "He told me it wasn't what he expected," she said. "But he also said something that broke me and healed me all at once. He wasn't there when I needed him most, but I'm glad I was there when he needed me." It was in that moment that Sam finally closed the chapter on his past, not with bitterness, but with peace. In the years since, that private journey has quietly shaped everything about him. His dedication, his empathy, his unwavering connection with fans, they all trace back to the lessons he learned from pain. He often says that growing up with very little taught him the value of giving, and that seeing his mother work tirelessly to keep their small family together gave him his sense of discipline. He never forgot where he came from, Chrissy said. Even when the fame arrived, he was still that little boy who helped me carry clay pots to the market. Fans responded with overwhelming love. Hashtags like #proud of Sam and #Heughan family strong flooded social media. People shared their own stories of family hardship and reconciliation, thanking Sam and his mother for giving them hope. The media, too, shifted its tone. What began as a dark secret story transformed into something deeper, a lesson in courage, forgiveness, and humanity. When asked about the viral interview in a recent press conference, Sam smiled gently. "I think people often see success and assume it's built on ease," he said. "But for me, it was built on struggle, on a mother's love and a lot of second chances." He paused, glancing down before adding, "My past isn't something I'm ashamed of. It's something I'm grateful for. It taught me empathy. It taught me that love, real love, isn't perfect, but it never gives up." Those words summed up everything fans already knew about him. That beneath the Hollywood charm, there was a soul forged in resilience. The story of Sam and his mother became more than a celebrity headline. It became a symbol of healing. For those who grew up with loss or broken families, it was proof that pain doesn't have to define you, it can refine you. In the closing segment of her interview, Chrissy said one final thing that resonated with millions. "The past is heavy, but my son carries it with grace. He turned our pain into something beautiful, and that's what makes me proudest." As her words echoed across the screen, fans realized that the dark secret wasn't a scandal at all. It was the truth of a family that had endured, a mother who never gave up, and a son who turned his shadows into strength. And maybe that's the real secret Sam Heughan had been carrying all along. That behind every hero's story, there's a mother's love that taught him how to rise.